Hey everyone, this is James Hux from Hux Law Firm. Recently, a study came out that showed that there are less employment law lawsuits being filed than there were in the past years. And a lot of that is to blame on coronavirus. And the articles have said that some of the reasons that there could be less lawsuits being filed is because, one, the difficulty in filing the lawsuits. Two, because of there's less person-to-person interaction, so there's not as much of that tension that naturally would be there if somebody is working there constantly or had just been terminated from somewhere. Three, people may be afraid of rocking the boat. They don't want to risk losing that financial source of income by doing something or initiating some action against the employer. And four, they're just concerned that their employer might not even have any money. Even if they did have a case, they could have filed for bankruptcy or something along those lines. And I think those four reasons are real and accurate, are contributing factors to the reasons why the coronavirus has limited or reduced lawsuits for employment litigation. But I think there's four other reasons that are important to mention here too. I think the first reason is that people are just busy dealing with their families right now. They're now back in school, or they're going virtually. And going virtually to school has been a real struggle for a lot of parents and families. And on top of them just working from home, they have to coordinate their kids' schedules so they can make sure that the kids can learn. So throwing in a lawsuit to that mix is something that a lot of people just don't really want to do and don't have the energy to at this point. The second reason that people aren't really filing lawsuits is because they believe that they cannot afford an attorney, and there's still that perception out there. I've done videos of this in the past that talked about some of the different alternative methods of pay, like the contingency fee and some sliding scale methods, but there's still a lot of people who don't have access to that information, and there's not that much information out there for consumers to actually find or potential clients to be able to find so that they know they can utilize that if they wanted to explore taking some sort of action against the employer. So there's got to be more awareness for that, for people to see, yes, I can afford an attorney. I just had to go this route or look for this type of fee. So people aren't finding that, so they're not bringing any action. The third reason is probably that there are people who are high risk for complications if they've contracted COVID-19 that are just not really meeting people at all right now. And they're not aware of the different technology that exists to be able to meet with attorneys and talk about their potential case. And because they're not aware of the different technology available, they're just not doing anything and not meeting with anybody. So attorneys, we have to do a better job of making sure people know that there is technology out there. So if you do have that potential legal claim, you can still talk to somebody and do it safely without risking exposure to COVID-19. The fourth and final reason I think that people aren't filing lawsuits or seeking legal advice right now is just plain old pandemic fatigue. Everybody's tired right now of dealing with the pandemic and dealing with social distancing and having masks on. And it's understandable that people are tired, but we don't know how long this is going to go on. And a lot of people are just uncertain about what steps they want to do while that's going on. So because they're just tired of the whole pandemic and everything going on, they may be sitting on their legal issues longer than what they potentially would have done beforehand. And there's really no way to fault somebody for doing that. People handle the pandemic and different pressures different ways. So you just have to respect their time and let them know that you're there for them. That's all I have for you guys today. As always, feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Stay healthy and stay safe.